What's up? What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? What's up? What's up? It's your boy DMR back at it. As y'all can see, I'm back in my studio, as I call my studio, in my kitchen. Yes, I'm doing it from my kitchen. You know what I'm saying? And anybody got anything to say, then say what you want. But anyway, I want to give a little brief talk about doing for yourself. And sometimes doing for yourself may seem like that you self-centered. Do for yourself nowadays, y'all, because you would never know when tomorrow's going to be your last day alive. You might die in 5 minutes. I might be dead in 2 minutes. I might die next week. I might die 5 weeks from now. I don't know. But here's the thing I have to say, and I'm going to say this. Start living for yourself. You may got an older relative in your family and you always running for this person, or it may be something that you're doing for your immediate family, which is understandable. But at the end of the day, y'all, you got to fend for yourself. You got to take care of yourself. You have to. Because nobody else going to take care of you but you. And remember that. Nobody's going to care for you but you, right? So, you want to take your trips. If you have a goal like me, I got to follow your goal, right? So, I'm not going to be able to fulfill my goals as I want, but I'm going to, somewhere down the line, I'm going to have to work toward doing something to soothe me, to add on to my goal. Meaning, can't suppose if you want to live abroad, right, and you can't do it full time, you can't even do it part time. Then try to do something to give you a temporary feel. Like, go take a trip for a week or 2 weeks just to free your mind. And I say this to everybody that's in the matrix in the United States, anybody that's struggling, anybody that's surviving, anybody that's a blue-collar worker. And I say this because I don't care what nationality you are. You have to make time for yourself. All that looking out for everybody's interest first, that's done. I don't even do that no more. I might help you, but to help you to a certain point, then I got to think about myself. So here's the thing. With blue-collar workers, and I specialize in talking about blue-collar workers, because I'm a blue-collar guy. I was born and raised, and I came up blue-collar. So I'm not a white-collar person. I didn't live in no big house growing up. I didn't have a spoon in my mouth. You know what I'm saying? I had came up the hard way, and I'm gonna tell you all this, right? And I've been thinking about this. I came up y'all hear all these celebrities that have hard lives and shit, like whether you be from Chicago, New York, Philadelphia. Well, I'm from a town that's outside of Philadelphia. I'm not gonna say where, but y'all will kind of know. It's a town. It's not a big town. It's outside of Philadelphia, 20 minutes away from Philly. And I grew up like this. I have a success story in my own right. I am not a celebrity. I'm not a star. But I grew up in the hood. I'm not from the projects. I grew up in the hood, right? But I always stayed in an apartment. I never had a house until now. I have a house. And I got my house in my late 40s. And I hate to share my age, but anyway, I got my house, right? So when I was a child and growing up through adolescence up into adulthood, I never had a house. But I remember growing up, and my mom used to heat the house with the gas stove. I remember this. Y'all do too. You remember when you had to open the door, right, like here, right? You had to open the door, turn on the stove, and let the house heat. I remember that. I remember when my mom had to boil hot water. We didn't have no hot water in the apartment. We had to boil hot water to take a shower. I remember this shit. So I've had a struggle growing up, just like those superstars that y'all hear about, Alicia Keys, how she grew up in like New York and she had a hard life, just like all these other guys, Tyson and folks in O Block in Chicago and Philadelphia. I grew up the same way. I don't have the platform because I ain't no celebrity. You know, I remember y'all growing up when in my house, I used to come home from school. I still think about this. And my mom was at work. Bless her soul now, you know, she passed on. I used to come home from school, right? Turn on the light, it used to be roaches all over the place. And I used to think at some point growing up, this shit was normal. It's crazy. And I'm telling you, we had roaches, we had mice. Now, I'm not proud of this shit, but I graduated now. I don't got none of that shit now. And I'm glad. But this is from a single family, not family, a single mom. I'm a part of a single mom when I was in my adolescence, in my teenage years. Starting my teenage years, I didn't have a father. I had a father as a child on up to like around 8, 9 years old. After that, it was just me and my mom and my aunt. You know what I'm saying? So I can relate to hardships in the hood. I'm from the hood. Now, I say I'm from the hood. I ain't no gangster. You know what I'm saying? I ain't the hardest killer. I ain't the biggest drug dealer. No. You know, yeah, I was in the street like that in the spot that I reside in, but I didn't have no name like that, and it's a good thing I didn't have a name like that. But what I'm saying, I'm from the hood. I understand the stuff that goes on inside these households and the conditions that these kids are going through is even worse. Because now they don't have their fathers, they don't even have their mothers no more. They got their grandmoms. And their grandmas probably dead, they don't even got that. So what do these kids run to? Okay, the kid go to school, you know what I mean, funky, you know, ain't had nothing to eat, right? So he gets involved in the streets. So his street become his family. You know? Think about this. So I'm saying, I'm not trying to give no life lecture. I'm just telling you, I'm from the hood. I'm from the street. I grew up in the conditions. I understand single mom households. I'm from that. So nobody can tell me a damn thing about a single mom household and the struggles and the conditions that people go through. I understand that shit well. Now, getting back on track about do for yourself, y'all. It's time for you to think for yourself. You can't always think about everybody's interest. Think about your best interest. Your best interest is you. You know what I mean? Now, some people may say, right, well, be a good person and a people person. That's fine and dandy. But in 2024, that nice guy, good guy shit, it got its limit. You can be a person that cares a little bit, but you care for yourself even more. You know, I care, I smile and all that shit. I try to give back the best way I can, but at the end of the day, man, nobody's doing nothing for me. I got to think for me. If I can help you, then I'm going to give you some information to benefit you. But before I do that, I got to benefit myself. Give me some information to do my thing first. Then if I got enough lifeline on my rope, I'm going to give it back. Right? So, think for yourself. Make time for yourself, man. Life is short. And the description I just gave you, I had to say that because I have to share. I'm the same as these guys that you hear in the street, that these guys get locked up. I'm them same dude. I didn't get caught for the shit I probably did. And I ain't killed nobody. I ain't did nothing crazy. You see what I'm saying? But I was in the street. I seen shit, fights, and people get knocked out and get beat with baseball bats and lead pipes and shit. Back in my era, Generation X, we seen that, but that was the limit of the violence. You know, you only got popped if you did something, if you robbed somebody, if you took somebody's drugs, you did some shit and basically violated, then you got dealt with. But you got dealt with at nighttime. Today, it's not even like in broad daylight, these kids is killing each other, blowing each other's brains out. I'm not from this generation. I'm from Generation X. That's my generation. So a lot of you youngins out here, I can be your fathers. So I'm from the Generation X. I'm from the 80s and 90s. See, I understand that shit. And again, we can't fault the youth today about what's going on, because you got to go back 20 years ago, right? You got to go back 25 years ago to understand why this shit is as it is. For example, I was watching this documentary about Chi-Town, Chicago, and it showed how come things are so bad in Chicago now, because they went back 40 years ago. They went back 60 years ago, and they went through each timeline. They went back through the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, mid-2000s, 2024. So the ending result at this point is generation, the guys that's 25, 30 years old, their generation is almost wiped out. It's said about this in Chi-Town. Now you got the kids that came under them. They're in their early 20s, their teenage years. So now they're going to be experiencing probably worse conditions, because it gets worse as the generations get older. I mean, as the generations get older, the youngins, they come, they get out, so it's the next generation. So I've seen that, right? That's wild. So a lot of people didn't know that the ghettos were created by the federal government created around the country ghettos. And the inhabitants of the ghettos were not people of melanated skin. There was the other people. You didn't know that? I'm getting food for thought. So fast forward. Chi-Town. Pretty Green projects get tore down in 1997. And I know this because I seen the buildings. I was in Chicago in 1996 at an event downtown Chicago. And I seen them going, I forgot the interstate that goes past Ohio, Indiana, then right, Illinois, Chicago. So we driving up on the like interstate, and I see the buildings, the Betty Green projects, or them projects. When you watch Good Times in them buildings, those were the buildings that I seen. That was in 1996. I think they tore Betty Green projects down in 1997 or late 1996. I seen the buildings myself. So they tore them buildings down, right? And now you have people that's scattered in neighborhoods. So now you have the creation of cliques and, you know, all that. I'm just saying that the documentary I seen last night about that I was watching on my phone, and it's very crazy how stuff they try to make it look like these kids is at fault today, and they didn't start this, man. This stuff started back in the early 90s and shit. Y'all remember Freaknik, right? Example. You be like, well, all these girls out here shaking their butts and twerking and stuff like that on cars and on tables and stuff like that, right? Them same kids that's 25 years old today and 28 and 30 years old, they was born in 1994, 1995, right? Freaknik was around that time. Think about this. Freaknik was that down in Atlanta. It's a big event that they had. And it was crazy shit. It was crazy stuff going on in the street. And they used to be having sex and stuff all out on the street in the open. They used to drink and smoke and everything, right? Mind you, this is in 1994, 1995. Now, them kids out here today that's in their 25, 30 years old, that's their mother and their fathers out there doing that. The young man and the young female don't know that's her mom standing on that car butt naked with only her shoes and socks on, or probably her shoes and socks was off and her whole bottom had been down, right? But they don't know that's their mother, because there's few video of Freaknik. You have it, but it was on back then. It was on camcorder, right? So people vaguely taped it and stuff like that. But if they was to see what they seen back then the day on the camera, that will show your mom standing on the car shaking her rump, right? So you can't blame the kids today and say they the cause of this. You got to blame the people in Generation X, my generation, that was earlier on when them kids was born. Then the girl got a child, right? The girl gave birth to the child. The pop in the joint, he in jail, right? He gets out of jail. Some of them got out of jail. Some of them still in jail. Think about this. So all this stuff didn't happen right now. These kids is only a product of their environment, and they're a product of the experience that their parents was going through, was leading up to them, and they never, not everybody, but they never learned and have been taught this. You see what I'm saying? So people in my generation is at fault for this stuff. And we got to keep it 100. Yes, Generation X is the reason why, is the end result of what you see out here today. Yes, it's our fault. My generation's fault. Okay? When they had In Living Color on, you remember that show came on? You remember that your girlfriend had the baby and all of us was in the house watching In Living Color? And you remember the kid used to be on the floor playing with his toys, and all of us was in the house chilling, watching TV, drinking, smoking outside, going in the house, chilling. And while your mom and dad was upstairs getting it in, the girl got pregnant. Then 25 years later, her kid's 25, 30-something years old, and he out here gangbanging. So how you gonna blame the boy for that? Think about that, y'all. Now, in some situations, you can have a good family, mom and a father, but the boy and girl still is wilding. So it's the peer pressure at this point that's affecting the kid. Depending on which state and city he's in, he's going to be affected. For example, like I told y'all, I seen the Chicago documentary. Chicago's different than any other state in the city in the United States, because kids can't even go to school. Y'all gotta watch this documentary. The kids gotta be in a gang. Now, LA, I'm not I'm not familiar with any of this. I'm just saying the documentaries. So the kid got to go to school. He got to be worried about getting killed by this thing called the ops. You know what I'm saying? Which is a brand new word for me. But I have some other stuff to say about that word ops. And I'm going to share in my later videos who are the real ops. Because the real ops ain't somebody, you know, going back and forth with. So anyway, these kids got to go to school. And they stay in the same area. So y'all got to think about this. These kids ain't at fault, man, for this stuff. Yeah, they have some point that they can be, but it's been like that. It's only in the documentary it was saying, the guy was saying, I think his name was Malik Yusuf or somebody like that. He's a poet. And he was speaking about how back in the day of Generation X, in the 90s, when guys at my age was in, y'all know how old I was. It was structured, but it was still crazy. Today, the guy was saying ain't no structure at all. You know what I'm saying? It ain't none. So, but you can't blame the young boys, right? You gotta blame Generation X's. You gotta blame people in my generation. You got to. How you gonna start with the kids and say it's his fault and the boy, man, didn't have no guidance. He's going to school being harassed and he's being chased home every day, man. Eventually he gonna give a, yo, man, I gotta be with some form of gang. It may be like that in other cities, but Chicago's one city that I've seen that documentary, man. It's serious, man. Y'all gotta really check this shit out. And I don't know how I got off the topic. I'm sorry, because I get so emotional talking about the history, the recent history that I'm from, and I get kind of emotional. So I apologize for that. So I just wanted to end with this. I'm going to change this topic to looking back in retrospect. I'm going to go talk about doing for yourself at some point in my next video and have it straight topic. But I had veered off on experiences I had and my growing up then to now. So I'm going to say the title of this is going to be Looking Back in Retrospect to Now. So y'all, if you like my video, hit the thumbs up button. If you don't like my video, thank you very much. I appreciate your view. And with that being said, it's your boy DMR. I'm out. Peace.